Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Carrie.
I'm really excited to talk to you about world's most amazing book.
You want to talk to me about the Bible?
No, I want to talk to you about the selection. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. So today we're reading The Selection by Kiera Cass. It is the first in the Selection series. It is quite a romp.
That it is. So let's see. So we're going to talk about The Selection today, and then next time we're going to talk about Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. So if you want to get a jump start on that, you can read that book. It's real good.
It's really good.
And very strange.
It's very strange, and it's also a pretty thick book. So, start now, and by the time we get another episode out, you'll be done.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to it then.
I guess if I have to. This book is something special.
Is it now?
Yeah. It's actually a fun book if you take the fact that it's a complete piece of trash and put that aside.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really quick read, and it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I only told it to go fuck itself twice, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you know what? I want to hear about this. Tell me about the first time you told it to go fuck itself.
The first was during the history lesson.
The history lesson was amazing.
So, during World War III, the United States President Wallace fought against China, who invited the United States because the U.S. owed them money. That was when I said, fuck off. And China won and, I guess, enslaved all of America.
Yeah, it became like the United States of China.
The American States of China.
Oh, that's what it was. The American States of China.
And then Russia invaded the ASC.
The American States of China.
And they were also attacking China on the other front. And so all of the countries in the Americas banded together under the leadership of Private Citizen Gregory Ilea. And I guess they won.
Because they became Ilea.
Yes, right. That's the name of the country, Ilea.
I think during the history lesson, we're to understand that Canada is also part of Ilea.
Yes, as is all of South America, South and Central America.
So this is a huge friggin' country. Massive.
Yeah. And the person who is giving them this history test says, "Dear girls, history isn't something you study. It's something you should just know." What does that even mean? But to be fair, even within the book, the main character, America, is like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, America didn't, there's not a whole lot of schooling for the lower castes. So it's not like she would have gotten this amazing history lesson in school anyway.
Well, she was homeschooled, right?
Yeah.
And she did find an old, partially burned history book in the attic or something.
Which her dad was like, never let anyone see this. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, if everyone supposedly knows this history, why is this such a bad thing? I don't know.
And then also, I guess, among other things covered in this history book was the existence of Halloween.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Of all the things to go away, Halloween goes away?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be fucking shitting me, Kiera Cass, with that bullshit. Because Halloween is the greatest. You get free candy. But maybe the lower castes aren't supposed to get cast-offs from the upper castes? I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's a caste system, and that's where I want this book to go fuck itself, because it makes no sense.
It does not.
So there are, 8 castes?
Yes.
The upper caste, the level 1 is obviously the king, the queen, the prince. All of the royalty are the ones.
Mm-hmm.
The 2s are, wealthy people, models, soldiers of all things, and then level 3 and 4.
So if you join this contest, you automatically get promoted to level 3, and also level 3 and higher, you get to use birth control.
Yes, I kept thinking, wait, I don't think the writer really thought this through, because none of this makes sense. So if you're automatically a 3 and your family is still a 5, how do you interact with them? Do you just not?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, well, different castes interact in certain ways.
They do, but would she hire her mom to sing at her party? Like, is that the sort of interaction that you have?
The other thing is that apparently you can buy your way up. And presumably there are ways that you can fall too, although that's not discussed in this book.
No. And so America is a 5, and that's pretty low. But all of the 5, so here's the thing I don't get.
Yeah.
Everyone who's a 5 has to be an artist in some way.
Right.
She's a singer, her mom is a singer, her brother's a sculptor, etc. So everyone has to be involved in the arts. Like, what do you do if you're not artistic? Like, you're stuck in this cast that you can't do anything. And that drives me crazy. I'm like, Kiera Cass, I don't like this because I can't draw to save my life, and how would I deal?
And since you can't use birth control, like all of these lower castes end up having huge families
that they can't support on these. Although now America's brother became a pretty famous sculptor.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do you become a famous 5? It just doesn't make sense to me that the arts are so low, but yet everyone still buys this stuff. So I'm like, it would be one thing if it's like, oh, these low castes, they make this art, but then no one buys it. And so they're just like, oh, we've got no money. But people still like hire them and buy stuff. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, and then, the lower you get, you've got, the people who are the housekeepers and
then 7s are like unskilled labor, I think. 6s and 7s get to go to public, or I don't know if they get to, but they have to go to public school, where I guess they learn their trades. 4s work in factories or a shop or on a farm.
And again, why would a 5 be below, like a sculptor be below someone who is a factory worker?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if 4s are supposed to kind of be like small business owners. We're spending way too much time trying to figure this out because, as you say, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense, but it drives me crazy.
And then 8s are like basically, I mean, they're outcasts. They're like illegitimate children, etc.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, so.
You and me both, buddy.
Welcome to the 8s. Okay, so this is the story of dystopian future of Ilea, and there is a lonely 5 named America Singer.
Oh my god!
I know
that name just.
It is up there with some of the worst YA names we have come across so far.
Mm-hmm.
It may be worse than Andromeda Slate.
I would say worse than Andromeda Slate.
Yeah. So America Singer, who is a singer, and her parents named her America, just like slap you upside the face with this name. She has entered into a contest to be the next princess. So as Ilea goes, or as sort of this shit happens, if you're a girl princess, you get married into another country.
Yes.
If you're a boy prince, you have a selection where it's a reality TV show competition to find your next wife within the country.
For some reason, this world seemed to be filled with kings and queens. Like, it's all monarchies.
Yes.
So, presumably, these other countries don't have the same policy, or else you wouldn't be able to find a prince to marry if you're a princess, because they would have to. No, I'm thinking about this too much. But do you see what I'm saying?
No, I do. I absolutely see what you're saying, because you would assume that the prince of that home country would need to go through a selection. So you can't be married into a different country if they're having a selection for their prince.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we set that aside.
We're going to say whatever.
Yeah, we're going with it.
So the prince, Maxon.
Yeah, Maxon.
Maxon.
The king of bathroom scrubbers.
Oh, but his parents have even worse names.
Yeah, what are they? Amberly?
Amberly and Clarkson.
Yeah, Clarkson is a last name. I mean, it's not, but it is.
It is. It's 100%. And Amberly is just like, I don't know, that just sounds like Mormon Kimberly.
I agree. And also, so, I mean, my feeling is that this is like maybe 100 or 150 years after present. Like, not more than that. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
But everything has a different name now. Like, nothing has the same name. Maxon's Aunt Adele is from Honduras.
Yeah. Is that still part of Elea?
Yeah, I believe that, because the way the selection works is there's one woman, I forget what the age range is, 16 to 19 or something.
Something like that.
One woman from each province basically gets selected, and then they all go to the palace, and ultimately Maxon, or the prince, picks the one that he wants to marry.
Mm-hmm. He sure does.
Yeah, so there are 36 contestants. I guess they don't call themselves contestants, but that's what they are. And yeah, so I think, well, no, because there are 50. Whatever. I keep trying to make it make sense, Carrie.
Well, it can't make sense. All I know is that America's Singer is from Carolina.
Yeah.
So she's a good Southern girl.
Yeah.
With a boyfriend.
Yeah, secret boyfriend.
Secret boyfriend named Aspen, who she has been snogging on the sly after midnight. Now they have a curfew, so she is breaking the law.
Yeah.
But he says, "Oh, my love, my darling, you must enter this competition." And she's like, "Okay." And she does.
Yes.
And she is selected.
Because she's thinking of him when the picture is taken, and the light of love is shining out of her eyes.
Oh my God, this book is a piece of crap. I love it. I have read all of the books in the series, plus like the prequels, the sequels. I've read them all. They're bad.
Oh, I thought of a third time I said "fuck you."
Okay, do tell.
And it wasn't when I was reading the book, but it was. It
was to me.
Well, that's coming. But I looked up the selection on Goodreads because I wanted to see the titles of the other books. This is after I finished reading it the first time. So you can go onto Goodreads and you click on, and it says the selection number 1. And you click on that and it brings up a list of everything in it. It says the selection series, 5 books. And then you look down and there's like 20 fucking things. Beginning with the selection number 0.4, 0.5, then number 1, which is the one I read, 2, 2.5, 2.6, 3, 3.1, 4, 5, 5.1, and then various collections. Oh, and the selection coloring book. Oh
my God.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I didn't see that.
Tell me more.
Prepared to be swept away by the gorgeous gowns and breathless romance of Kiera Cass's #1 New York Times bestselling selection series. Now brought to life in this beautifully illustrated coloring book.
I must have this. I need this. I need it so hard.
Well, I feel like that can be arranged.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Goodreads lets you ask questions, you know?
Yeah.
And then people answer. So the one question that's here about the selection coloring book is, are there any sexual scenes?
Yes!
And the answer is no.
Oh, Bohus!
You'll have to make your own, Carrie.
I will.
Oh, internet. You are so wonderful.
Don't ever change, except please a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. Where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about the light of love in her eyes.
Yes, right. So she becomes one of the selected. She meets up with a couple of other people from her part of the country. Let's see. They are
90% of these girls just don't even bother remembering their names. They're all gone.
I wrote down all the names of. So this is something that it didn't bother me, but I kind of wonder if it bothered other people about the book, which is that all the way through to the end, America, who narrates the book, just drops a new name of someone that hasn't been mentioned before, because there's initially 36 of them.
Yeah.
And before the final elimination, there are still 19. And all 19 of them are named. So there's like 19 names of people, but they just get kind of casually dropped in as if you will know who she's talking about. But in fact, they've never been mentioned before. Like,
no, I just remember 2 of them. That's all I need to remember.
Yeah, there's America. Mm-hmm. There's Marley.
Mm-hmm. Celeste.
Who is like...
she's the bad girl.
Like, I will be severely disappointed if in the next book, or maybe the book after that, Celeste does not say, I didn't come here to make friends.
I came here to make instant and lifelong nemesis.
Yes, I came here to make royal babies. Let's see. Who else? I guess Chris shows up a lot, but I don't really remember a lot about her. Yeah, I guess those are the main things.
Yeah. And then there's Anne, Lucy, and Mary. Those are the maids.
Yeah.
And then America, Maxon, Aspen, Amberly, and Clarkson. Those are the only names I wrote down because fuck everyone else. You're boring.
The final 6, like at the end of the book, everyone except 6 people get eliminated, and the 6 remaining are Marley, Chris, Natalie, Celeste, Elise, and America. And you really only know 3 of those, including America.
Yeah. So America gets there and she's like, fuck this shit. I'm plain.
Yeah.
And they dress her up and she's like, nope, I'm plain.
Well, they ask, like, what are you going for? Do you want to be, sultry or seductive? And she's like, just make me look like I already look, only more so. And they're like, okay. So when they're like traveling from one plane to another or something, she says hello to people at the airport and like signs autographs and stuff, which none of the other people do. So people like that.
Obviously, because she's down to earth and approachable. So that's a good quality in a potential queen.
Yeah.
I guess.
Talk about her first encounter with Maxon.
Okay. Y'all, it's the first night there. And she's like, oh, woe is me. I left my love Aspen and I am sad. And I have this penny in a jar and I'm thinking about him and oh shit, I gotta go. And she's getting all claustrophobic and freaking out. And she gets to the door outside her room to like go out to the gardens. And the guard's like, oh, no, girl, you know that there are like rebels everywhere, right? She's like, I'm gonna have a panic attack. And she's freaking out and she's about to pass out. And the prince scoops her up and brings her outside and says, yo, she's with me. Mm-hmm. And she basically yells at him, what the fuck did you bring me here for? This is the stupidest fucking shit ever. I can't believe this. I don't want to be here. Don't you think you could fall in love with me? No, I don't fucking think I could fall in love with you. This is ridiculous. Okay, I guess we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It all works out. This first encounter, Maxon really did remind me a lot of Riley from Awoken, and just being like kind of removed and amused at her, silly antics and whatnot. Certainly he becomes more sympathetic later on, but
yeah, like he had no idea that this was weird to anybody. He's like, what do you mean? Like coming into my house and vying for my affections isn't normal. This is normal.
Right.
Oh, none of this is normal.
Like, why would you be here if you don't want to be here? Which, okay. And I think she already tells him that she's in love with someone else, doesn't she?
Well, she says that she was in love with someone else.
Yes.
But they broke up.
Right.
So he knows that there had been a boyfriend in the past, but that there is no longer a boyfriend. So he's like, okay, I'll keep you around because you can give me the inside story on all the other ladies.
Which she never does, really.
No.
She tells him that she thinks Marley is sweet, which seems obvious. And she tells him that Celeste is horrible, which he doesn't believe.
Well, I think he believes it, but he's like, I can't get rid of her. She's a crowd favorite. She's got a lot of connections.
Right.
Like, whether or not she's horrible, at least for now, I need to keep her around because there's no legitimate reason for me to get rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would think, being horrible is reason enough, but he doesn't see it in the same way that she does.
Right. So I found this section where, I guess that there's a terrorist attack or a rebel attack somewhere in here.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
So they're in the women's room or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And the guards come and say like, hey, lock down. We got the rebels are coming. And it turns out that in a previous rebel attack, they dismantled the alarm system, which, get on fixing that, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the prince, like everyone, it's kind of all hands on deck and they're slamming down the
shutters.
Yeah. And America does that as well and encourages Marley to, look brave because she figures Maxon will like that. And so then later on, she and Marley are kind of talking about how they think the other would be really great as a princess. And America thinks to herself that she's totally unfit. And she thinks, I was unrefined. I didn't have it in me to be bossy or overly organized. I was selfish and had a horrible temper, and I didn't like being in front of people, and I wasn't brave. So none of that's true.
Yeah, I mean, she just completely took control and pulled down these shutters.
Yeah.
But okay, you're not brave.
And she describes herself as being a bad temper, but she often acts more like a mediator and is able to hold on to her temper. I don't know. Like, people aren't necessarily the best judges of themselves, but it just seems a lot of telling and not a lot of showing about that stuff.
Well, I mean, she did knee the prince in the balls.
Yeah, now that, right. That was good. We liked that. Not because he deserved it, because he didn't really, but he sent away like all the reporters and stuff and took her into the garden all by herself and was kind of getting close to her. And she had been told back before she left her home that, if the prince asks you to do anything where anything was strongly implied to mean fucking, you should just do it.
Because he's the prince and you don't say no to the prince.
Right. So she's not down for that. So she thinks that he's about to assault her, essentially. And she knees him in the upper thigh area.
Which is not the upper thigh area at all. It is the nards. It's the nard area.
I have a question about that. So they have a discussion about it. He gave me a dark chuckle, but you're not. So you had absolutely no qualms about kneeing me in the groin, right? She says, I hit your thigh. He says, oh, please, a man doesn't need that long to recover from a knee to the thigh, he replied, his voice full of skepticisms. So my question to you, Carrie, is this a joke about how big his penis is?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's probably a joke, or it's implying, oh, she's so naive. She doesn't know what she's doing. I don't know.
I feel like she and Aspen
got to third and a half.
Yes, that's what I think.
It's likely. I feel like this is going to be a tough one to edit because there's just a lot of like random shit that happens and there's no plot.
Yeah.
The plot is she's got a boyfriend. She goes to be part of the selected. There's a raid from the north. There's a raid from the south. The south people are the worst because they kill people. The people in the north don't kill. She's good to her maids. And all of a sudden, Aspen shows up.
Yeah, he's been drafted.
And now he is her official bodyguard.
That is stupidest shit.
I'm like, what are the fucking odds? Really? That her fucking boyfriend just shows up at her door in the fucking prince's house. Like, no.
Yeah, but even if it did, let's say that you're the prince and this woman that you're in love with has been talking about how she had this guy who broke her heart back where she came from, and he was a 6 and she was a 5.
And all of a sudden,
this guy shows up who used to be a 6 and is real, like, handsome and muscular and hot generally. And your first thought is like, oh, you guys knew each other? Well, I should totally make you the guard for her bedroom. That's what I should do.
And he does.
He does.
And he guards her bedroom, but good.
Not in terms of like keeping an eye on other people coming into it, but in terms of
being in it himself.
Yeah,
he's pretty on top of that. So they do a lot of heavy petting on company dime.
Yes,
because they're both being paid for their time here. Like, she's getting a stipend, and he is obviously getting paid for his work. So, they're doing this on the clock. But America and Maxon are becoming buddies. They're friends.
They are.
They're sort of falling for each other. They're doing a little kissy because America is not afraid of Maxon. Like, she's not just falling in love with him for the sake of being a princess or a queen. She actually enjoys his company, and they're really digging each other. And now Aspen's there making out with her. Oh, this is where things get weird.
So here's the deal. I'm reading along in this book, and 75% of the way through the book, she and Maxon kiss for the first time.
I know. You're like, okay, something's going to happen here.
Yeah. And then 90% through the book, Aspen shows up again, and America makes out with him.
Yeah. And so this is like, what's going to go on? I mean, 90% of the way through the book, we got 10% more to go.
Then there's another attack, and various things happen. America tugs her ear, which is the stupid symbol that they have, that they should get together and talk. And then she also arranges to meet with Aspen that night. I guess it works out, but it's a bad idea to schedule those two things for the same night, I feel.
Oh, totally. 100%. Because I am 100% expecting, like, there to be, the one guy under the bed.
Exactly.
Scenario, or like shoving Aspen in the closet and like hoping for the best. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. It does not happen, but I mean, it's too close for comfort.
Yeah. And so she talks to Maxon, and I forget exactly what they talk about, but
basically she says, yes, I could fall in love with you. Whereas before she was saying, nope, can't do it. I will not fall in love with you. And now she's like, yeah, actually I could.
Yeah. And she's like, we're more than friends. We may not be in love, but we're more than friends, or something. Words to that effect. So then Aspen comes in and is all like, hey, let's make out. And she says no.
Yeah. She's like, I can't do that. I need to save myself for the possibility of Maxon.
And also, you did break my heart, and you're kind of a jerk.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. Like, I don't like him.
No, I don't like him either.
I wish I did, because, you're thinking, oh, this is the guy from back home, and he understands her, but he doesn't really understand her at all.
He does not. And also, I feel like this whole story about the other girl that she saw him with when she was leaving, that whole story seems like bullshit.
Oh, it's 100% bullshit. So he's like, I was running to see you off, because she had to go be part of the selection, and they were having like a send off in the town square, and he was running, and there was this other girl running, and they were holding hands, but he was like, oh no, she had just fallen, and I was picking her up and running, and it was like, I don't run like that.
I think that this book is generally like written pretty decently, but this is one part I should have you read it.
There it is. I got it. Okay. I can read that. You want me to read that?
Please do.
Okay. Is that what you think? Oh, Mare, she fell. She tripped, and I caught her. Tripped? Yeah. The square was so full, people were standing on top of one another. She fell into me and made a joke about being a klutz, which is true for Brenna even on a good day. I thought about the time she seemed to just fall off the sidewalk for no apparent reason. Why hadn't this occurred to me before?
That, yeah, that could have been better written.
Yeah, I'll rewrite this for Kiera and email it to her. Be like,
Yeah.
you know what? In the next edition of the selection, could you fix this? Because it sounds stupid and it actually makes no sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So an issue I feel like an issue sort of in post-Twilight books, like one of the criticisms of Twilight is that the female protagonist doesn't have a lot of agency, and basically the books are about her choosing between one of two men.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that people may want to struggle with, I feel like. And I think that this may have been on our beloved author's mind when she wrote this in an attempt to make this seem like that's not what was going on here. I've been trying to put myself back together, and Maxon really cares about me. You mean so much to me, you know you do, but I'm part of this now, and I'd be stupid to not let myself see what happens. So you're choosing him over me? He asked miserably. No, I'm not choosing him or you. I'm choosing me.
Oh, but you're so not.
That was the truth at the core of everything, Carrie.
Oh yes.
So that happens.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And Aspen leaves, and America muses to herself. The selection was no longer something that was simply happening to me, but something I was actively a part of. I was an elite. I pulled back the covers and leaped into the morning. End of book 1. And that was my second fuck you.
Yeah, that was the shittiest ending. So this whole book is just like a big fucking like prologue
to, I guess, going down from the final 6 to her, and then her becoming queen or something. I don't know.
Or something. She 100% becomes queen. I'm just gonna spoil
no,
the shit
really?
out. No, really, yeah. She marries Maxon.
Oh man.
And they have little babies together. You're welcome.
Thank you. So I have some questions for you about the government of Ilea.
I may or may not have answers about the government of Ilea.
But I also have some predictions that...
Yeah, I'd love to hear them.
Okay. I predict that in the 3rd book or later, a character is finally positively identified as not being white.
Yes.
Yes. I'm 1 for 1. I'm guessing that there's never a non-straight character, though.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, not that is explicitly non-straight.
Sure, right. Some of these people. Okay. So my feeling... All right, so I'll start general, and then I'll get more specific if you confirm that I'm right about the general thing.
Okay.
So my feeling is that there are people allied with both the northern and southern rebels in the castle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think Gavriel is one of them.
Yep, he's a rebel.
Is he a southern rebel?
Nope, northern rebel.
Okay. All right. And then, so Marley clearly has a secret, so I thought she might have some kind of rebel alliance too.
I forget what her secret is. I think it was like a boyfriend.
Okay, yeah. My other thought was that she might be pregnant or something.
Oh, yeah. She had a boyfriend. And then she was caned for treason to Prince Maxon. Because that's normal.
I have a bad thing about America's family. Do they get like kidnapped by rebels or something?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So is Ilea's government... Are we supposed to think Ilea's government is good?
No. I think we're supposed to recognize it for being broken because America has to fix it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I see it at this point in the book, is that we're supposed to recognize it as being broken. We're supposed to recognize that it is unfair. We're supposed to recognize that, you know, the ones have no idea what's going on. and that, the rebels are upset about something probably pretty important.
Yes. But we're supposed to like the royal family, basically.
We are supposed to like them, but I think, we're also supposed to recognize that they're out of touch.
Yeah.
And they might not know anything either,
Because there are all these policies that are obviously terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the lower castes don't have money for food. They have nothing. And these selected girls are getting a lot of money. And so
right.
Maxon finds out that, people are going hungry, and that, his lady love has gone to bed without food before. And he's like, oh shit, I need to do something. So I'm going to start up like a food pantry and stop giving the twos and threes their allowance.
Yeah.
And that's how he fixes things.
And he encourages people to make donations to their local food banks as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know, to what extent America is a reliable narrator for this, but she seems to think that this, the laws against premarital sex are effective in getting people to not have sex before marriage, which I find highly doubtful.
Oh, it's very doubtful.
And I guess there are lots of eights around who are illegitimate or something.
I mean, there are a lot of rules, like I said before, they have a curfew.
Yes.
And it's, she does get out past her curfew, but it's not like she goes far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that helps with the teen sex. I don't know. I think people get married young in the lower caste.
Yeah. Well, that's what she says. They get married young because it's hard to wait. Is there a free press?
No. And it sort of felt weird that, this is in the future and they have, TV and stuff like that. But they have to write letters.
Yes.
Where doth the internet go?
Well, right.
They have airplanes, they have TV, they have all of that stuff, but they don't have the internet anymore. And what I also thought was weird was that the mail system for the royal family seemed to go very quickly.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
So they had these tarts. And America was like, yeah, my sister would fucking love these tarts. Like, she would eat these and cry. And if she totally cries, I get to her pants. And she and Maxon were like, okay, deal. And then all of a sudden, like 2 hours later, a letter comes back. I didn't cry.
Yep.
How did that happen? I don't know where the palace is, but it is 2 plane rides away from Carolina.
It's in Angeles, which I assume is Los Angeles.
Yeah. So how did they fucking get a letter back from her sister that night after bringing the tarts to her? Like, that is not a short plane ride. How did they do that? Tell me. I need to know.
I mean, they must have had a plane, a charter plane or 2 planes to send communications back and forth. Like, they say that it's expensive.
Yeah. So the tarts got there and then they faxed a letter back.
Yeah, I guess. Right. I guess there's telephones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's quite a book.
Yeah.
Quite a series. A lot of things happen, but I mean, really, it is just a competition to get a man, and that's kind of lame.
Yeah. No, some of the stuff is just so clearly reality show. I mean, as far as Maxon is concerned, this is just a way for him to meet a variety of women and find one that he might actually be able to build a life with. I guess that's sort of how he pitches it.
That's how he sees it. And that's how his dad saw it, because his dad got his wife through the selection as well. So this is sort of all Maxon knows, is that this is what you do. And obviously my parents got along fine, so it's going to work out for me. This is normal.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
But then he says, so early on, I think the first day, the first full day that they're there, It says, Maxon walked to the center of the room. If I have asked you to remain behind, please stay in your seats. If not, please proceed with Sylvia here into the dining hall. I will join you shortly. And that is like just completely like splitting into two groups and not saying which one is being eliminated or what's going on. It's like, that's a total reality show move.
All right, it's time to find out who is in and who is out.
And I don't know why you would do it in this like, it's not like they need ratings. It's a government-run TV show.
And they're not watching, like the audience is not watching most of the stuff that's happening. They're only watching, certain things, whether it's, the interviews of the girls or, very small snippets of these young women or, them talking with Maxon. But they're not like the audience isn't really participating in this event like they would in, say, the Hunger Games, where they watch all of the proceedings and can, donate gifts to the participants throughout their time. So it is a little different, but it is also very reality TV, where it's like, why didn't you just fucking give them a rose?
Well, I feel like we can probably wrap things up soon, but I did want to ask you, so what do you like about the book?
What do I like about the book? I like that it's a quick, easy, fun read. I like that. I like America. I think she is a relatable character. She's sort of written to be too relatable in some ways, where it's like, oh, she's gorgeous, but look at all of her faults.
Yeah.
She's quick to judge. She doesn't want to make out with the prince. She is plain and reserved, but perfectly so. So she's written to be relatable, but maybe, but I don't hate her for it. And I don't hate going along with her on this ride, as ridiculous as it is.
I think that's maybe what I was struggling towards before, is that she's perhaps a little bit too relatable. Like, it seems a little unrealistic that she's as relatable as she is.
Yeah. I mean, it is completely unrealistic. No one who is as obviously gorgeous as she is, because she's, she becomes the queen. So she's, this gorgeous five. So she knows what it's like to be like from the poor part of town, but yet she can hang with the prince. And so I think, especially a teenage girl reading this is going to feel like, this could be her. I don't hate her, and I don't hate this book as much as I dog it because it is ridiculous. It is immensely entertaining, and that's why I have read all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like, I gave one or two examples of some kind of clunkers, but I think in general it's written pretty well. I agree that America is likable and it's kind of enjoyable to read about. Like, when the book ended and I was like, oh, go to hell. In that moment, I kind of was like, wait, that means that I liked this book, because otherwise I wouldn't be mad that it was over. Damn you, book. You worked on me. So, yeah, it's, the world building is suspect in a lot of ways.
Oh, very suspect. I mean, even reading it, I'm just like, I just don't think the writer thought through the details well enough. And the fact that she wrote, 5 or 6 books in this world, I don't think it ever works quite the way you want to.
Yeah. Like, I think it's tricky to try to combine romance with dystopian YA, in as much as, on the one hand, you're like, the patriarchy is bad and the system is corrupt. But on the other hand, you're like, but everyone seems to be having a pretty good time, and we kind of like all the people in power. So
yeah, I'm like, when the people in power are, they are pretty likable. Like, you want to like hang with the queen because she sounds cool. And the king seems, a little aloof, but like a good guy.
trying his best.
And the queen's sister sounds awesome.
I know. You just want to hang out with her and drink wine with her all night.
I know. She's like, I'm drunk. And everyone's like, oh my God, she's so drunk. And America's like, I know. Wasn't she hilarious?
I'm going to get some wine and go sit with her for a while. Okay. Well, there you have it. Two reviews. I'm going to have to figure out how many stars to give this on Goodreads, and I don't know what I'm going to say.
Goodreads is one of those sites that I know exists, and I know I have a Goodreads account, and I forget my password constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's a solid 3.5. It loses points for me for being,
Dumb.
Yeah, I was gonna try to make it sound like I knew what I was talking about. Derivative.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This book has been written before in different ways. Whether you're going for the reality TV version, part of the book, or just the straight up, romantical love triangle part of the book. This book has been written before, and it may have been done better before. So that knocks off a couple of stars, but it is really consumable.
Yeah.
And so I like it. I like the series. I don't love it, but I don't know. When you got the flu, it's a great book to read.
Yeah, I actually was kind of sick yesterday, so when I was rereading it. So there you go. So this is, well, no, I'm not even going to say that.
What? No. Say it anyway. You can edit it out.
The penny in the jar.
Worst. So, I'm going to break down the penny shit.
Okay.
Because, we haven't talked about that. And so,
break it down.
So, when they go.
You know what, Carrie?
Yeah?
Penny for your thoughts.
Oh, fuck that shit. Anyway, when Aspen and America are having their makeout sessions up in the treehouse, America sings to Aspen, and he pays her by giving her a penny. So she's got a jar of pennies. What the fuck is that about in the first place? And she's like, you don't have to pay me. These are gifts. And he's like, no, I need to pay you because that's what I do. I'm the man who pays for your singing. Anyway, she brings one of the pennies with her to the palace, and she sort of leaves it in her desk drawer as a reminder of the love she once had. And I vomit just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it really is like a kind of a literally penny for your thoughts thing, and yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
vomit.
So
what are we doing next time, Carrie?
Are we doing the Stephanie Perkins book next time?
I think we're gonna try to squeeze in Libba Bray, if we can.
Oh, yes. Libba Bray. Okay. So, next time, we are going to read Beauty Queens, right?
Yep.
Okay, this book is so fucking kick-ass. It is such a good book. I'm really excited to talk about this with you. I read it before. I've read it a few times. I love it. I love it. I love it. Beauty Queens. Libba Bray. Badass.
Yeah, I think kind of an interesting sequel to this one.
I think so too. I was just thinking that, it's sort of like The Selection meets Survivor meets awesomeness. This is a badass book. And Libba Bray is a fucking phenomenal writer. And her world building is amazing in contrast to this. And her ideas are always sort of out there in a good way. And this is a good book.
Excellent. Carrie and I have also been doing bonus episodes for the Ear Trumpet Audio Network, which we are members of. We've been talking about the TV show Riverdale in all its trashy glory and trashy horribleness.
Now, I would call it horrible, but I would call it trashy.
But there are some things that are very wrong. There's some things that are very enjoyable. There's some things that, well, I don't know. I'm enjoying
But
it.
anyway, we've got some fantastic patrons who are helping support us in doing this project.
Yes. Patrons such as Sarah Sturdivant,
Jacob Haller,
James Gravestock,
and the awesome Adam Roche.
So thanks to all of you for supporting us. And if you want to join their numbers, go to patreon.com/eartrumpet.
Yeah, and I think you totally should, because Riverdale is awesome. And you totally want to hear what it is we have to say about not at all teenage people acting as teenagers with amazing hair.
Yeah, and my ongoing developing crush on Luke Perry is documented there as well.
I'm right there with you. Luke Perry is the best.
So as I say, we are members of the Ear Trumpet Audio Network. You can visit eartrumpetaudio.com for all of your podcast needs. You can follow it on Twitter at Ear Trumpet Audio, also on Facebook. You can join the Patreon, and you can listen to other shows on the network that are awesome, such as this one.
It's Lifemark, a made-for-TV podcast. Each week, two friends plus occasional guest watch the best and worst made-for-TV movies that Lifetime and the Hallmark Network have to offer. These movies have it all: bad boyfriends, adopted babies, crimes of passion, women who own gluten-free bakeries. Watch along with us and subscribe to Lifemark on iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are sold.
So I guess that's about it for this time, Carrie. I'll talk to you again soon about the Libba Bray book.
I can't wait. I'm so excited to talk about that with you, and I'm so glad we're done with the selection.
Me too.
Give me a call when you get back. Hey there.
Hey.
LoveLikeCrazy.com. EarTrumpetAudio.com.
Ideas and entertainment.
Loud and clear.
I decided not to care that we've never said the name of the show. I'm pretty sure we didn't, but I don't care.
This is Love You Like Crazy. The end.
The end.